Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
So, Caroline, you warned us that today's science segment would be a little bit buggy. Now,
Yes.
I feel like there are two meanings going on there. So,
Yes,
yeah. Why don't you tell us what's going on with in the world of science, in your world?
very buggy, very buggy. So, first topic, I would like, now not everyone is going to enjoy this topic, but I'm going to try and bring a different light to things like I always do with science. So, an extinct cockroach has been rediscovered. Okay, I know cockroaches are not top on the list for favourite insects, but just
They're
hear
the
me
kind
out.
of things that we don't like to discover in our houses usually, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will get to that. So this is the Lord Howe Island wood-eating cockroach. So it is not your everyday little cockroach that you find in the kitchen and want to squish, okay? So it's a wingless wood-eating cockroach named Panacea lata, previous thought to be extinct, has recently been rediscovered. It was last seen about 80 years ago. So they thought it was not there. It's a wingless cockroach and it's 22 to 40 millimeters long, has a metallic body colour that varies from reddish to black, and Australia hosts 11 species of this cockroach, and they are powerful burrowers that live inside and feed on rotten logs in the rainforest and open forest in coastal northern and eastern Australia. This particular cockroach is unique to Lord Howe Island, which is about 700 kilometres northeast of Sydney, or the mid-north coast of New South Wales. It was once widespread across the archipelago. This native cockroach and was thought to have become extinct on the main island of the Lord Howe Island archipelago in 1918 when rats arrived. And of course, who bought the rats? The people. So, as always. Now, researchers at the University of Sydney, made up of honours student Maxim Adams and evolutionary biologist Nathan Lowe, actually as part of their project, went to Lord Howe Island to conduct a survey to confirm the extinction of this cockroach. And with successful rodent eradication program having been undertaken in 2019, they were examining the possibility of reintroducing this native cockroach back to Lord Howe Island. So they just thought, we're going here, we're not going to find any, but we'll just see, if the environment's still good, it's a habitat that they will enjoy, still be able to live, and we'll just breed these up and, we can find different, not exactly that cockroach, but something that can take the role of the cockroach that was there before. Mr. Adams went ahead to Lord Howe Island along with Nicholas Carla from the Department of Planning and Environment. Now they went hunting, so they just went to have a look. They're turning over some rocks, and it turns out one of the very first rocks they turned over is where they unexpectedly found this species of cockroach. It was actually a whole family of them.
Oh, it's first rock. That's
They're just like, what? They were very, very surprised, very shocked.
Dancing for joy, yeah.
Yes. I mean, for an entomologist, as somebody who, or somebody who's studying this kind of thing, it's it's amazing. So, I mean, like someone looking at the stars, they found something. Well, they're looking at the ground. It's so similar, but not the same, but similar. It was under a banyan tree, which is, the species name is Ficus macrophylla, and it's a large evergreen native fig that's found in the area. Entomologists had been looking for this particular cockroach for decades, but haven't found any, so that's why it was thought to be extinct. Now, they performed DNA studies on the cockroach, and they did confirm that they are a genetically distinct group from other cockroaches found nearby. So there are other types of cockroaches that are very similar, but this is the particularly distinct species due to their DNA. So it seems that this population managed to survive over time and become this distinct population. The survival of the population has been compared to Darwin's finches, so where their separation from other populations allowed them to develop their own genetics and adapt perfectly to their environment. So if with Darwin, when he went to the Galapagos Islands and there were finches with different shapes and sizes of beaks, and they were all like, one was eating nuts, one was eating insects, for example, and they managed to, they were similar but not the same because they changed over time through genetics, through mutations to be able to inhabit a particular environment and to, adapt to a certain food source so their population could live. So it's a similar kind of thing. But why should we care about these cockroaches? Like, seriously, why should we care about them?
That's a great question, Caroline.
Cockroaches.
Okay. You haven't
They
got
are
to that part yet.
No, so here. So let me tell you what Professor Lowe said. He said that the native wood-eating cockroaches play an important environmental role. Now, it's important, to be environmentally aware, understand nature a bit more. So they are incredibly important nutrient recyclers, ecosystem engineers, and as a food source for other species. He said, we're not rats necessarily because they don't want the rats there, but the lizards and other native species. He said that the species also deserved a better rap than common street roaches, not those, the ones that we talked about in our kitchens.
Not like those common cockroaches.
They are not.
Not like that vermin.
They look a bit different too. It doesn't smell. It doesn't run quickly. It's not scary.
Yeah, smell. Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And they scamper away. These ones don't do that. It's actually quite charismatic. You can hold it in your hand, he said. And they're quite actually cute little things if you're an insect lover.
That's a big
it just hangs. It is. I may be an insect lover. You guys know that already.
We know you are,
Definitely.
And I'll come to that later as well. It just hangs out in the forest. It doesn't go into people's houses. It just hangs out in the forest recycling wood and leaf litter to keep the forest healthy. That's why we're interested in it, because it was so abundant before the rats wiped it out. We figured it was probably playing a pretty important ecological role on the island, also acting as food for a number of the bird and reptile species out there. And he said there was still so much to learn. So that's why it is important that we found these cockroaches.
Wow.
Every single little creature that God has made has an important role in the environment. Once you remove one, there's something, that's not being done. For example, these cockroaches break down wood and recycle nutrients. So they were worried that this role wasn't being played, and so they were trying to fill the gap. But they're already there, so I assume that probably the next steps would be trying to breed them up and spread them around the place, So
Awesome.
I thought that was a cute little cockroach story.
That's a good one. Yeah. The one question I'll have for God one day when this life is over is mosquitoes. Really, mosquitoes? You could
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I can take your recycling beetles. I'm cool with that. With cockroaches. Sorry, but but you got to explain mosquitoes to me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Caroline, these
yeah.
poor things. I was thinking, they're hard workers, but also food for other. No, I'm gonna think positively.
Well,
very hard workers.
Everybody's food for somebody in the natural world. Unfortunately,
right.
that's just how it is.
I know. It just feels
like we're lucky we're at the top of the food chain.
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah. And
aren't we all just food for something? No, I'm kidding.
Keeping with the insects thing, we are.
Yeah.
Except,
cool.
We hope not to be food for someone, like maybe
or anything.
Out there in Africa for lions and hippopotamus and crocodiles. I mean, the Northern Territory crocodile. Anyway, I can think of examples.
Science
but we
topic
don't
just
want to
get
go
really
into that.
dark. Wow.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Right, back to cute cockroaches.
It's nature. Okay, it's nature.
Yeah. But it's great to see they're doing very well.
Yes.
These
I mean, they are
great.
cute.
Yeah.
I have stick insects, which I'm going to talk about a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. You can actually buy native cockroaches and have them as a pet. Like you can
Wow.
raise them. There's some that are really big, like really huge, big ones. But they're kind
Yeah,
of
I
just
can imagine.
prehistoric looking. They're not those horrible ones with like and big antennae and scampering around and running off with your sandwich. That's not the kind of cockroach they are.
That's right.
Anyway.
Cool.
So I really wanted to do a little update too on my stick insect family.
Yeah.
I spoke about first getting a spiny leaf insect. Well, I got it in July last year, and I did an episode.
Wow,
science
that's so long
episode
ago.
on
Yes, you
spiny
did,
leaf
yep.
insect.
Yeah.
Yes. Now it is a form of stick insect, but it looks like dried leaves. It's brown. It's it's kind of it looks, if you put it in the leaf litter, you won't be able to see it obviously because it's camouflage. Well, so the one I had, she was a girl, and unfortunately she passed away not that long ago. So she lived for quite a while, which is a normal lifespan. They live for about a year and a half, and she wasn't very small when I got her. So she lived a good life. For a little while, she had a male friend, and they were very friendly, and I have some eggs from them, right? And they laid lots of eggs.
Nice.
And recently, now that the weather's getting a little bit better, I actually have had these eggs for quite a few months now, and they've all of a sudden started hatching, which I'm so excited about.
Awesome.
And I have very many now. Very many
I saw yesterday. It's
tiny
amazing.
little spiny leaf insects.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
you're getting one for Christmas.
Everyone's getting
because
one
I
for
have too
Christmas
many
now.
ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like Oprah.
Yes, you're getting a stick insect.
Just like
you're
Oprah.
getting a stick insect. They are actually really cute.
Nice. Yeah, they are actually. Cool.
So yes, now because they were, they have genetically both the male and the female, there will be males and females in these eggs. The female actually can reproduce by herself. It's a survival thing, but they'd be clones of the mother.
Yep.
Oh, my
But
goodness
I'm
me.
expecting little
Wow.
boys and girls in this little population. So I'm really excited.
Wow.
And I think I spoke about in that podcast too how when they are born, because when I'll start again, when the eggs are laid, they drop to the ground. So these stick insects will live in the trees, in the gum trees. The eggs will drop to the ground, and there's this particular species of ant, little black ant with a red head, that will get their eggs and take them down to their burrow, and each egg has like a little sugar cap on top. The ant will eat the sugar cap and dispose of the rest of the egg. Now, the egg will stay in a nice warm environment down in the ant burrow, and then the stick insect will hatch. And guess what it looks like when it hatches? That little ant. It looks like a little black ant with a red head. And now I can confirm that because I actually see them, and they walk around like little ants. They're very fast. And what they do is they work their way up through the burrow and up to a tree, and then they start looking more like a spiny leaf insect. And I can confirm that because I'm seeing it for myself, which is really exciting. So, yes. So if you go back in time, I can't remember, what episode number it was.
So I
but
can jump in there.
Okay.
I'll put it in the show notes, but if you use our Let's Science sister show, which is these segments, it's episode 9. So I'll put a link in the show
Episode 9.
notes. Yeah.
There you go. And you can hear all about them in that episode. So, yes. And I have another group of eggs that have hatched too. They're called a crown stick insect. It's just a normal kind of looking stick insect, I guess. If you look up stick insect, you'll be able to see. And they have started hatching too, which is awesome.
Wow, Caroline.
And now I am waiting for another group of insects to hatch, which are my leaf insects, which they are not a stick insect. They're a leaf insect. They look like a green leaf.
They're
and
amazing.
I'm just waiting for. I'm waiting for those, and I know everyone's gonna want one of those. So I thought I'd just very buggy episode today.
Yes. So if you're a friend of Caroline, expect a bug this Christmas.
Christmas is coming. They'll be
Christmas.
just big enough at Christmas time for everybody to get one.
Awesome.
Or two. Yeah.
Caroline's a bigger mum.
Well, I don't know if you did talk about this in the previous episode on this, but they're very low maintenance to look after, aren't they?
Oh, so low maintenance. All you need to do is a jar of water, grab a branch or just, a whole branch, but, a stem of gum leaves, just put it in, like you get a vase of flowers, and you just put the leaves in there and just spritz them with water once a day, and that's it. They're happy to live there.
Very
Put
easy.
them in enclosure, like
Yeah.
a mesh enclosure,
Yeah.
and they're just hours of fun. Like you wouldn't think so, but I just look at them every day, and I just love them. They're just such a unique pet. They're amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely,
you learn
yeah.
so
Wow.
much. You just learn. I've learned so much having them and reading about them and learning about them. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
thanks for
Well-
sharing that. Can I just cap off this little science segment
For
with
sure.
2 bits of space news? The
Of
first one
course.
is you may recall the Capstone mission. So this was the mission that was launched by NASA. It's a probe the size of a microwave, basically, that was launched by Rocket Lab in New Zealand to go to the moon. And the journey was about 3 months, and its mission was to go into that I forgot the name of the orbit, but anyway, it's like a halo kind of orbit. So it's more oblong shaped than just a regular orbit of the moon, to test the theory that the Earth and the moon's gravity meet at a particular point and can hold an object in a particular orbit. And the plan for this is that eventually the Gateway space station, which will be the platform to go to and from the moon, will be built and go into that orbit. So the good news is Capstone, after a few software issues, did get on track, did make it to the moon after in November as it was meant to, and it did achieve that orbit that they were hoping that it would. So that's an important Pathfinder mission, and anyone who's a space nut would already know this. But during the week at time of recording, Artemis 1 launched. It was as amazing as we thought it would be.
Attempt?
It was so surreal. I think it was at the 3rd attempt. Yeah, it was so surreal to watch it
Third
take
time's
off.
always
and
a lucky one, isn't it?
yeah,
Third time.
yes,
Yes, that's right.
absolutely. And it was a flawless launch. It was just like watching any regular rocket. It was amazing.
Mind blowing. I was still
Yeah.
recovering from. I still have bit of COVID fatigue, and I was jumping up and down. I was like, nothing's gonna hold me down. I'm just
Yes. When they resumed the 10-minute countdown, it was the most exciting 10 minutes.
Yeah, when they did the
Yeah.
actual
'cause
countdown.
I was about
yeah.
to go, all right, it's not happening yet. And then I
Yeah,
think
it's gonna
you
get scrubbed
texted,
and-
say,
yeah.
they've restarted the
It's doing
count.
it. Yeah, they did the
yeah.
go, no-go poll, and everyone's like, yep, go for launch and everything.
Cool.
Yeah, so
cool,
it was amazing. So thank you, NASA. Thank you, United States, for getting us excited about space as well.
I know.
And how historic this mission is cannot be understated. This is the Pathfinder that returns humanity to the moon by about the Artemis 3 mission. And the moon will eventually be populated by humans and be used to launch to Mars and beyond in our solar system as well. So this is huge. Like I can't overestimate how huge this launch and the success of this launch was. So
It will be.
there is so much more to come. Yeah.
I can't wait for it's years off, but I just can't wait to see people
Yeah.
back on the moon. Footage
Yeah.
of people on the
Yes.
moon. I can't
And we'll
wait.
be
And
talking
this
about,
is not done in a studio, you skeptics out there. This is actually
No,
real,
it's
right?
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in a Hollywood
Goodness
basement.
me.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Hollywood basement. Oh, of
Yes.
course. The other, definitely the other one was real, Well,
Yeah,
I'm just
they're all-
saying, this is real, okay? Come on.
They're totally all real. Yes. Calm down.
Yeah, oh my
People.
gosh. The,
Yes.
the steps taken, like every single part of the mission has to go so perfectly well for
Yes.
it all to work. And with the technology they had back then, and it's amazing.
It's
I mean,
amazing. It is.
They
Ah.
set this all in motion back then, and so we're able to go back now and do it. It's just amazing. It's such a privilege to be able to watch it all now.
Exactly.
Really is.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the first steps, Gan.
Yeah.
This is first steps. Wow.
And sorry to
wow.
ruin the science segment on this note, but every time I see one of those Apollo launches or now an Artemis launch, I keep thinking, it's been a long road.
Oh, Star Trek Enterprise. Oh, Lindsay.
Sorry.
Oh, Lindsay.
Can't help it. I can't help it. It pops into my head every time I see a rocket launch now.
Now
I'm
you
sorry
got
if I
the
did that to
song in my
anyone
head,
else.
Man. Now, you
I
got
know.
it to me, man. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to get my song in my head now.
Yeah. Oh, it's still playing in my head even after yeah, let's move on.
Oh,
All right.
Sorry,
I'm
Caroline.
gonna need a new Lego model rocket. They better make an Artemis one.
Oh, yes.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
definitely. I'm sure that will happen. Yep.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science and find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another podcast on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy: The Secrets of Movies and TV Shows. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found, or at sqpn.com/secrets.